Disappearances haunt us for a reason. Human beings don't just dissolve into thin air. There is always a trail, a shadow, a final moment that should anchor us to an answer. But sometimes the world decides to keep its secrets. No footprints, no witnesses, no remains. Just questions echoing across decades. Today we are stepping into 5 stories that continue to defy logic. People who walked into the world one more time, and then never walked back out. No confirmed sightings, no closure for their families. Just cold trails, haunting clues, and mysteries that seem designed to never be solved. From a teenager who vanished during a 2-minute walk between houses, to a pilot who radioed a chilling message before disappearing into the sky, to a brilliant scientist who left behind a perfectly normal life before erasing himself completely. These are cases that investigators revisit again and again, always hoping new light will finally cut through the darkness. These are 5 people who mysteriously vanished and were never found. 1. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson, Minnesota, 2008. Shortly after midnight on May 14th, 2008, 19-year-old college student Brandon Swanson was driving home from a small get-together. The roads were quiet, the night was calm, and everything about the situation should have been routine. Just before 2 a.m., Brandon accidentally drove his car into a ditch on a rural gravel road. He wasn't injured, the car wasn't damaged, he simply needed a ride home. He called his parents. Brandon told them he wasn't far away, and that he could see lights from a nearby town. His father drove out to find him. They stayed on the phone the entire time, but Brandon's descriptions didn't match the area his parents were searching. He insisted they were close, yet neither could see the other's headlights. For 47 minutes, Brandon calmly guided his dad through the dark, trying to explain where he believed he was. Eventually, frustrated but still sounding completely normal, Brandon said he would walk toward those distant lights, believing it would bring him closer to town. His father stayed on the line. They talked about everyday things, ordinary things. Then, suddenly, "Oh, shh!" A startled shout, a stumble, and the call ended. It wasn't a scream. There was no sound of a struggle, no indication of what he saw or what happened. Police launched extensive searches. They found his car, not near the town he thought he was near, but 25 miles away. Tracking dogs followed his scent from the car to a point where it just stopped. No blood, no clothing, no sign of a fall, no evidence that he entered water, no footprints suggesting a direction. To this day, Brandon's last moments remain frozen at that sudden, terrified exclamation. A teenager walking through the dark on a perfectly calm night, and then, without a trace, gone. 2. The vanishing of Frederick Valentich, Australia, 1978. On October 21st, 1978, 20-year-old Australian pilot Frederick Valentich took off in a rented Cessna aircraft for a short evening flight over Bass Strait. The weather was clear, his route was simple, and he had flown it before. But at 7:06 p.m., Frederick radioed Melbourne Air Traffic Control with a strange report. He said there was an aircraft hovering above him. Not passing, not approaching, hovering. Controllers told him there were no known aircraft in that area. Frederick insisted it was there. Metallic, shiny, moving strangely. He described its speed as unusually fast and said it kept appearing above him no matter how he turned. Then he said something that has chilled investigators for decades. "It's not an aircraft." The conversation continued for several minutes. Frederick's voice grew increasingly confused. He said the object was playing with him, circling him. Then he reported engine trouble. The final transmission consisted of 17 seconds of metallic scraping sounds, then silence. No wreckage was ever found, not a single confirmed piece of his plane. No oil slick, no life jacket, Nothing. Search teams combed the sea and coastline for days, then weeks. Hundreds of interviews produced no definitive leads. Some fishermen reported seeing strange lights in the sky. Others saw nothing unusual. Official reports suggested the possibility of disorientation or even a deliberate staged disappearance. But none of those explanations account for the last 17 seconds of audio, the sound that investigators could never identify, and that no one has been able to replicate using known aircraft or mechanical malfunctions. Frederick Valentich and his plane simply vanished into open air, leaving behind a puzzle that refuses to be solved. 3. The strange case of Maura Murray, New Hampshire, 2004. In February 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray emailed her professors saying there had been a death in her family. There wasn't. She packed up her car, withdrew money from an ATM, and drove north toward the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Nobody knows why. Around 7:30 p.m., Maura lost control of her vehicle and crashed into a snowbank on a rural road. Several neighbors saw the accident. One man spoke briefly with her. She insisted she had already called roadside assistance, but records show she hadn't. A school bus driver offered help. She refused again, calmly saying she was fine. He drove home and called the police anyway. Officers arrived 7 minutes later. Maura was gone. Inside the car, her belongings were still there. ATM receipts, alcohol she had purchased earlier, a printed map of New Hampshire, clothes, her textbooks. What wasn't found was just as unsettling. No footprints leading into the woods, no sign she hitchhiked, no trails, no scent track that dogs could follow. It was as if she walked out of the crash site and evaporated. Theories range from an abduction to voluntary disappearance to accidental hypothermia. But none match the speed with which she disappeared from a highly visible area. A passing car should have seen her. A neighbor should have heard something. Police arriving within minutes should have easily spotted her tracks. Yet for 2 decades, nothing. Not a confirmed sighting. Not an article of clothing. Not a single clue confirming what direction she even took. The road where she vanished has become infamous. A place where time seems to pause and questions pile up faster than answers. Four, the vanishing of Louis Le Prince, France/England, 1890. This disappearance is so old that it feels like a legend, except it isn't. It's painfully real. And it involves the man many historians now consider the true inventor of motion pictures. In September 1890, Louis Le Prince, a French artist, inventor, and photography pioneer, boarded a train in Dijon headed to Paris. He had been visiting his brother. His luggage was light. No sign of distress. No strange behavior. He told his family he would soon travel to the United States to demonstrate a groundbreaking invention, a camera capable of recording moving images. If he had done so, he might have secured his claim as the father of cinema years before Thomas Edison. He never made it to Paris. When the train arrived, his friends waited. But Louis was not on board. His baggage wasn't either. Rail staff confirmed he did board the train, but nobody saw him get off. No body was found beside the tracks. No signs of suicide. No robbery. No witnesses. Nothing. Theories exploded. Some think he was murdered to eliminate competition in the race for cinematic technology. Others believe he staged his own disappearance. Some theorize a tragic accident caused him to fall from the train, though no evidence supports it. His family spent years trying to locate him, eventually filing lawsuits to protect his patents. But without Louis, the world turned to Edison, and history recorded a different name as the pioneer of film. To this day, Louis Le Prince remains a ghost, one of the most influential people in early technology, erased in the space between 2 train stations. 5. The disappearance of Lars Mittank, Bulgaria, 2014. The last case is often called the most mysterious disappearance ever caught on camera. In 2014, 28-year-old German tourist Lars Mittank was vacationing in Bulgaria with friends. After getting into a minor altercation, he suffered a ruptured eardrum and was advised not to fly. His friends returned home, but Lars stayed behind for a few days. During those days, his behavior changed dramatically. He called his mother, whispering that people were following him. He said he didn't feel safe. He switched hotels because he believed men were outside his door. On July 8th, he arrived at Varna airport to finally fly home. A doctor evaluated him, and after a short examination, Lars suddenly panicked. He stood up, muttered something about not wanting to die, and sprinted out of the airport. Security cameras captured everything. He ran through the terminal, out the main doors, across the parking lot, over a fence, into a field and nearby forest. Then he vanished. Bulgarian authorities conducted extensive searches. Drones were used. Dogs tracked his scent only part way. No items of his were recovered, no clothing, no identification, no remains. Theories vary wildly. Psychotic break triggered by medication or injury. Drug-related paranoia. Actual threat from unknown individuals. Attempt to flee someone in the airport. Accidental death in the forest. But the footage complicates everything. Lars didn't look confused. He looked terrified. He sprinted with intention, like someone running from a very real danger. To this day, that short camera clip of him running out of the airport is the last verifiable moment of his life. A man who seemed perfectly normal days before, suddenly swallowed by the world. Disappearances hit us harder than other mysteries because they scratch at our deepest fear, that a person can simply be erased without leaving a reason behind. Each of these cases represents someone whose story ended mid-sentence, whose last steps led into silence. There's always hope that one day a clue will surface. A witness will come forward. A new technology will shed light on old evidence. But for now, these people remain suspended between fact and speculation, living on through the questions they left behind. If you found these stories intriguing, consider checking out our other videos on unsolved mysteries, strange disappearances, and cases that still shake investigators today. Thanks for watching. And remember, truth doesn't hide forever. Sometimes it's just waiting for someone to go looking in the right direction.